Hopefully everybody's having a good day. Happy Friday, happy Black Friday. And yeah, so pretty much remaking a few videos that we had lost in the previous Telegram group, right? Over like 100 videos lost, right? So it's all just slowly rebalancing itself, if that makes sense, right? But yeah, these videos should ideally be quick because they are very simple and specific things, right? Okay, so we're gonna be talking about internal to external, right? In regards to time-based PDRAs, right? When we ideally look at price, right? Price ideally is continuously doing one thing, two things, right? It's going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? So for price to be creating lows and highs, it needs to be ideally reacting of something, right? As they say, price is either doing two things. It's seeking liquidity or rebalancing inefficiencies, right? So whenever price creates a high or a low, right, it tends to be visiting an internal PDRA, right? And then when it does that, it leaves internal liquidity, right? To target what? External liquidity, right? So internal to external is ideally the fact that price ideally seeks lower price, right? Only to look for an internal PDRA. PD stands for premium or discount array, right? In this case, this is a premium array because it supports what? Premium price, if that makes sense, right? So how we ideally utilize this outside the norm, right, is the fact that we incorporate time in regards to this specific internal to external profile, right? Meaning that these specific traits should be ideally happening at very specific times, if that makes sense, right? Very, very specific time, right? Whereby now the internal PD array, which can be an imbalance, it can be a time-based range array. It can be a rejection block. It can be a time-based order block. It can be a time-based volume imbalance and even a time-based breaker, right? But we will ideally be focused more on inefficiencies, right? Everything else you ideally don't really require, right? So price is continuously referring to time-based ranges or time-based cycles, right? And within them, it's time-based candlesticks, right? But for this case, we'll be talking about ranges, right? Whereby now you can have the current Q1 range, Q1 time range, do an internal distribution low to target a internal time-based PD array that formed within a similar cycle at the exact same time, right? This does not only apply for Q3, meaning it applies for all quarters, right? Whereby now Q1 revisits Q1 and then reacts, right? Q2 revisits Q2 and then reacts, right? But when you're trading futures like NQ, right, you tend to be trading the AM session. And with the AM session, what happens is you want to see Q3 revisit Q3's imbalance, right? These things are continuously interchanging, right? If you're to be trading London, you'd be looking for this form of profile, right? Because a session or time-based session, right, is a cycle, right? Q1 is Asia, right? So this can be like Asia revisits the previous day Asia and then reacts, right? Q2 is London. Current day London revisits the previous day London range or imbalance, right? And then reacts, right? But when you're trading NASDAQ, most of the volume is going to present itself within the AM session, right? And within the AM session, you'll ideally have Q3 for Q3, right? Best time frames to ideally look for this trades, right? It's going to be the 90-minute time frame, the 3 hours time frame, the 6 hours time frame, right? Those are going to be the best time frames to ideally identify this nature, right? But when you understand this, it becomes very easy to fractalize it, meaning this is happening across all time frames, internally, even within nanocycles, microcycles, 90-minute cycles, and so forth and so on, right? So if you're to be trading the AM session, what you'd ideally do is you want to see price draw to the internal PD array, right? This whole entire, when price outside a Q3 range is drawing or targeting a Q3 range from the previous day, right? That is a manipulation. That's how you identify manipulations, not off patterns, right? Whether it was impulsively drawing lower or it was accumulatively drawing lower. Does not really matter. You want to regard that as time-based manipulations, right? They are specific to times, not price, because when you're looking at price, you're going to be looking at patterns, right? And that's not what we're learning, or that's not what I'm teaching, if that makes sense, right? So right now, ideally the exact same nature, and the most crucial thing would be for you to ideally understand how this is ideally represented within the markets, right? The time frame does not matter. This can be fractalized. When you understand this, you should be able to see it within across any time frame and any cycle, right? So I'm not going to be specific on sessions or cycles, because that's only going to box you, right? But I'm going to be only utilizing a specific quarter, but it applies for each individual quarter. For example, like I said, Q2 for Q2, Q1 for Q1, right? Q3 for Q3, and even Q4 for Q4, right? So when we have this type of nature, right, where price is moving up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right, there is many ways to see this from a pattern perspective, right? There's many things that ideally retail traders can ideally utilize to see specific patterns, right? Where they can say this was accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right? Well, that's ideally, for most people, it's ideally enough, but I personally believe that all that is just footprints of time, right? Meaning they're just side effects of what time is representing, right? Because for all these individual candlesticks to print, it takes time. And what are they representing? Time, where specific price was at, right? So price is just the footprints of time, right? Listen to that again. I'm going to say it one more time. Price is just a footprint of time, meaning it's reflecting what time has done. You understand? There's three components to this. There's time, price, and energy. Energy is your asset class. Energy is volume, right? All these collide, right? Meaning they make up one single market, where time is what you'd ideally see on the bottom when you're looking at TradingView. Price is what you'd see right here, right? When 930 hits, that would be what? Energy, right? The asset class that you're trading, that would be what? Energy. You understand? So those are three forces that ideally make up a chart or make up the algorithm, if that makes sense, right? So this is going to be the first introduction, whereby now I'm going to be showing you internal to external based on quarterly cycles, meaning quarterly theory, right? Within the next couple of videos, I'm going to be also showing you this based on semi-symmetrical cycles, which is secondary cycles, price booking in twos, right? But I'm going to use quarterly theory to articulate it in the easiest way, right? Without ideally refurbishing your mindset, to say the least, right? So each individual quarter, if you can see, right, what it ideally does is refers to the exact same similar cycles, whereby now we have 4 quarters right here, right? And then 4 quarters. Each one of these 4 quarters would ideally make up 1 quarter on high time frame, right? But in this case, we have Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Now, when we had price ideally move bullish, right? Bullishly move, right? And then created a swing high, right? And then ideally manipulates low, meaning from this high to this low. That is one fixed manipulation, right? To the downside, to target what? The Q3 range, right? And within the Q3 range, what happens? You ideally anticipate a reaction, right? To say the least. So you would have price within Q3 draw to a Q3 imbalance and then react off it. You understand? Over time, right? if you're still new, you will learn to understand why price is utilizing this specific imbalance that formed at the midpoint of Q3 at the first candlestick. These are semi-cycles, right? Will ideally be taught, right? So internal to external, right, in regards to time-based PDRAs, right, is when price refers to a similar cycle to react off, right? But it needs to be within a specific trend direction or support a specific narrative, right? Meaning it's referring to the previous cycle, right? The minute we start cutting through candles, that will also be made in the couple of videos coming, right? That is an extended internal imbalance, right? If a swing high is left, right? So the easiest way I can explain this, right? You can regard this as sessions, meaning this is Asia, this is London, this is New York. AM session, this is New York, PM session. Asia, London, AM session, PM session. So what happens? Price from the previous day, PM session, manipulates lower, targeting the previous day, AM session, right? And then by the time the AM session begins, right? What does price do? Price reacts of a Q3 imbalance within Q3 to ideally continuate the order flow, right? It's ideally as simple as that, right? The skill set is when you learn to identify these things when they are in play, if that makes sense, right? But yeah, guys, this is just the base introduction of what internal to external profiles are, right? Time-based, internal to external, right? With that being said, you guys will tell me if this type of videos are ideally better to explain the concepts, right? When we have just this thing is coming outside my name, right? But a document, right? Instead of us using TradingView, I have it set out as a document, right? So yeah, you guys will tell me if this is ideally a better way of articulating everything, right? But yeah, with that being said, hope everybody has a good day.